Hey, 1st through 4th grade leaders, I hope you've had a great week. Couple of changes coming up before I start talking about activities. First, we are going to start allowing families to check in at only 20 minutes prior to the start of service. So even if they're a volunteer, if they can check in their kids, but the kids will need to go with them. That will allow us time to get set for the room, to have the music going, the lights going, and for all the leaders to be in place. Which brings me next to the leaders. We need to start arriving 30 minutes prior to service time. This allows us to get into place, have a huddle up time, and just be prepared as we greet families and kids. Hope that works for you. I think it'll just change the way that it helps everybody get checked in, and just exciting for the kids when they walk in the room that it's already set and welcoming them. All right. We're continuing the big idea of creativity. Creativity is imagining what you could do because you're made in the image of God. We are going to continue talking about creation. We started at the beginning last week, and we're going to pick up in chapter 1, verse 26, where we see how God created Adam and Eve, and he was so intentional in making us and making each of us unique, but in his image. And the bottom line this week is God made me. After the kids arrive, we're going to have creation stations set up everywhere for them. They're going to sculpt or draw or build blocks, but they're going to do it very specific this week. They are going to either create whatever the best part of their week is or the worst part of their week, and that's what I want them to stick to. Or they can even act it out. We'll have one section divided off for acting it out. So make sure that you go around the room, greet kids, and tell them that what they're working on, what they're creating, and then we'll talk about it in their small group activities. All right. After that, we're going to come to large group, do worship songs and a game, and then you're going to go back to small group. I'm going to do what we did last week, where the host leads that small group activity together. So what will happen is when you get back to your small group, I will say, you have 4 minutes for an icebreaker. Here's your question, and our question this week is, tell us what you thought was either the worst part of your week or the best part of your week. Only give them one, and whatever they created during their creation stations. You'll have 4 minutes to do this. Then I'll say, all right, that was great. Now let's move on to activity number 1, God made me. And that way, that'll keep you on track and allow the kids to know what's coming next. And you'll have that time with them just to talk and not worry about your time. You get to focus completely on the kiddos. All right, so God made that is the first activity. Each small group will have a large piece of paper. It'll say, in the beginning, God created. You're going to ask the kids, what did God create on day 1, day 2, day 3, 4, 5, and 6. Have the kids help you. If they need to, go to their Bibles. Don't give them the answers. Go to the Bibles and look it up. Then you're going to hand out paper and pencils to each of the kids. The kids will have 1 minute to make a list of things related to what God created on that day. So you're going to roll the die. If it comes up a 3, then they will list the items that were created on day 3. All right. For activity number 2, it's called Not Just Another Bookmark. Each kiddo will hand out the Bibles to everybody. Everybody will also get a bookmark. You're going to look up Psalms 139, verse 14. You read it aloud to the group. Then you're going to ask the kids what it means to be amazing and wonderfully made. Remind the kids that they are a product of God's work. They are a masterpiece that God created. You're going to ask them to write out Psalms 139, 14 on their bookmark, which I have over here. Let me grab one. Here's the bookmarks. So they'll have to write out Psalms 139, verse 14 on the bookmark. And then they're going to get a string, and they're going to put it on the back, and we're going to cover them in packing tape. Well, I'll show you a demonstration of that during huddle up time. And then what because they're putting the string down the center and they're putting packing tape, each person's bookmark is going to look a little bit different, just like we are. Then you'll end with some dive deeper discussions for 3rd and 4th grade. And then we're going to follow up and end with prayer time, which I will also, I'll tell you when activity 2 is over and when to start prayer and dismissal time. This week, they're going to put together a prayer book. We're going to use a sheet from last week and a sheet from this week, and they'll need to staple it together. And then we're going to put them in Ziploc baggies for them. You can either keep the books here, or if they take them home, they need to try to remember to bring them next week so we can add another piece till the end of the month for their prayer book. We want them to be real specific about some of the things that they're thankful for, and each prayer page asks them to list something and tell them to be very thoughtful and not just jot down anything, to really be thoughtful, and then you can end with some prayer requests and prayer time. All right. can't wait to see you at Huddle Up time. Don't forget, we're going to change it. 30 minutes before the start of service is Huddle Up time. So that means that second service, you can come over about 25 minutes or 20 minutes till service time is over, so that you'll have time to have some Huddle Up time with us. All right, thanks so much, and I'll see you on Sunday.